Hi, I'm James and thanks for tuning in to eBuyer. In this video, I'll be taking a look at the Razer Blade 17, an awesome RTX 3060 powered Core i7 notebook with a 360Hz display. A notebook perfect for first-person shooter games like Valorant, Fortnite and CSGO, all of which we'll be testing out a bit later in this video. Join us today though for an unboxing and overview and a look at all the features on the Razer Blade 17. And let's kick things off by actually taking the notebook out of the box. One thing you can be sure of with a Razer product is not only that you're going to get a great quality bit of kit, but also that the unboxing experience is going to feel quite nice. So taking the power brick out, you'll find your box inside of a box. And this Razer branded packaging is where you'll find the Blade 17 itself. The box opens to reveal the notebook with nothing else on top, and you can pull it out using this plastic tab. And my goodness, my first impressions of this thing are its size. Now, of course, with this being a 17-inch notebook, it is going to be absolutely massive. But that didn't quite prepare me for the pure scale of this device. My goodness. Taking out this little bit of protective film, you'll see obviously your keyboard here with pretty much all the keys you could want. Obviously not full size with it being a notebook, but still pretty large. Some big speakers either side, a really nice glass trackpad, and that awesome 17-inch 360Hz display. Now what that means is that you can see much higher frame rates on this device than you would one with a 60 or even a 120Hz display. It means that the image on the screen refreshes up to 360 times in a second, allowing you to see that enemy peek in a corner or that gunshot that little bit earlier, and it really does help to give the competitive edge. The big question for me though is whether the hardware inside of this notebook is capable of driving the 300 plus frames per second that we need to take full advantage of the display. I think the best course of action will be to actually boot the notebook up and test out what frame rates we're able to manage, but first it's definitely worth taking a swizz around the I/O and connectivity, one of the most important points on a gaming notebook. On the left hand side of the device, you'll find your power connector up the top left. An Ethernet cable, this is great for those people looking to game with super low latencies, and a device with a screen like this needs that kind of low latency capability. You've then got two USB 3 Type A ports, a Type C port, and a headphone mic combo jack. On the right hand side of the device, you'll find a full-size SD card reader, awesome for any content creators or professionals out there, something of course this notebook will definitely appeal to with its form factor and power. A further USB-C connection, USB-A, a full-size HDMI, and a Kensington lock. A really conclusive I/O. I actually quite like as well that this gaming notebook doesn't have an I/O at the rear. This is something that notebooks in this price bracket often tend to do, and while it's not necessarily a bad thing, I just find it to be a bit less streamlined. The bottom of the device, you'll find two large rubber feet, great for spacing this off a desk, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 fans that I can see alone to help drive airflow through the laptop, keep it nice and cool, and make sure our components don't thermal throttle. For now though, give me some time to get my favourite titles installed on this machine and we'll be right back with you. The first game we're going to try out on this Razer notebook is a bit of Apex Legends. And to give you guys an idea of the settings we'll be using, we're currently at 1080p with basically everything maxed out as high as we can go. I am going to disable VSync though, as that will limit our frame rate, something we obviously don't want to do on a display like this. Straight off the bat then, we're sitting around about 155 frames per second using NVIDIA FrameView in the top left hand corner, and we're running a game of Arenas to try and get you guys some nice looking gameplay. I would also make a comment about just how good this display looks as well. That 17-inch form factor is absolutely stunning and works perfectly for a game like this. Oh, nearly some nice shots on. Oh, there's 3 on 1. That was an inevitability. The gameplay though looks absolutely incredible. I love the form factor. I know I mentioned that earlier, but it just looks absolutely awesome as we look to be dying on the 3rd round of Apex Legends Arenas. The next game I'm going to try out is a little bit of CSGO. The 360Hz refresh rate on this display deserves a game where the frame rate is nice and high. I had to concentrate for a second there. Oh my goodness, they're everywhere. What is going on? Grenade, I think, is what we need to sort that one out. Oh, no. Oh, no. Disaster. I'll use this opportunity to actually go ahead and take a look at some of the settings we'll be using in CSGO. So you can see here we're running at 1080p, full screen, everything pretty much on very high or max with the frame rate in the top left corner. And we're at present achieving around about 270 frames per second. Visually, the game looks pretty good as well. CSGO is an older title, so isn't going to quite look as visually glamorous as an Apex Legends, Fortnite, or the new Call of Duty Vanguard, but still looks pretty good. Let's try another round and see if we can get a slightly better kill count this time around. There we go, first kill on the board, lovely stuff. And there's a second one, two in a row. Oh, no, 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 awful timing. There we go, second kill on the board. We got there in the end, ladies and gents. Here looks like number 3, peek around this corner. Where is he? Number 3, incoming. Oh, nearly. We have got bot difficulty on hard as well, though. It just allows us to get a few more cycles of the game. But either way, CSGO is still sitting around about 270 frames per second, so getting fairly close to the territory that we're after when it comes to the 360 hertz refresh rate on this Razer notebook. Lovely stuff. Not only is this notebook great for gaming though, as one of the creator notebooks, it's also awesome for creative applications. Take Photoshop as an example. We've pulled in here a composition which includes lots of AlphaSync systems. Available exclusively at eBay, cheeky little plug there. And you can see here that we can actually go ahead, we can adjust the layers, we can adjust the composition, and do all of this in real time with no lag, no stuttering, using the power of the hardware that's otherwise great for gaming. Let's take the glow on these AlphaSync fans. Say that I want to artificially make them brighter, I can go ahead and do that just as I please, choosing just how much brightness and how much contrast we want to actually add in. So I quite like that. There's the before, there's the after. They both look great, but the point is you can do this on the fly nice and easily. You can also zoom right into your layers, take a look and edit in more detail without any lag, any stuttering or screen tearing. In a complex composition like this one, it's good to see the notebook keeping up. And it's great to be able to edit individual layers, change the positioning of certain layers as well, all in real time. But photo's one thing, what about video? Well, let's dive into Adobe Premiere Pro, and rather than rendering one image in Photoshop, let's render 30 or 60 images in a second in Adobe Premiere. Here we've taken a video that's recently been published on the eBuyer YouTube channel. Let me kill NVIDIA Frame View to get rid of the overlay that's presently in the way, and you can see here it's editing the video without any problems. You can see it's cutting between each of the shots with absolute ease, no lag, no stuttering, we're basically playing back in real time. But James, isn't this a pre-prepared composition? What does this actually do as far as testing the machine goes? Well, let's go ahead and take this mouse shot. Maybe I think the mouse shot looks a little bit too dark. What I can do is I can jump into our project bin, and then I can go ahead and create a new adjustment layer. An adjustment layer is basically a layer that goes on top of our existing composition and allows us to very easily amend all of the video footage below it. So let's take the Lumetri color palette and let's start color grading the video. I'm going to trim the adjustment layer down to the length of our clip and then jump through a range of different looks that give it a different finish and feel. I quite like this one, but I think that it needs a little bit more intensity. So let's tune that to about here. I think it needs a bit more exposure. Let's bring that up. I think the highlights, the bright parts of the image are a little bit too overdone, and I think the shadows are a bit dark. So let's bring that up as well. Here you can see the before, and here you can see the after. Maybe I think that it needs a little bit of a tint as well. It's a Razer video, so why don't we tint the shadows with a bit of green? Let's bring that over to the green hue. Highlight to offset the green, maybe a little bit of purple as well, bringing a bit more blue into the image. What about if I want to do a traditional contrast S-curve? I add 2 points on, bring the shadows down, bring the highlights up, giving the image a bit more pop. Heck, what if I wanted to go ahead and add a vignette onto the image? I don't particularly, but it does give our system a little bit more of a challenge to deal with. Let's now go ahead and see if it plays back in real time. It does completely. Oh my goodness. So this intro's rendered, that makes sense. And then look at that. So now that's at half resolution. What about if we tune things up and we want to play them back at full 4K? Let's see how well our notebook copes. Unbelievably well, it seems. But what about if that's just a fluke? Does it do it on every single layer, James? Does it do it across the composition? Well, let me jump over to here. Let me decide that I want to change the color grade on the A cam, on the angle you see me talking to the camera. Let me increase the exposure a touch maybe. Let me bring that contrast down a little bit to make the image more flat. And heck, let's crush the blacks as well. We're doing lots of contrasting moves here that you wouldn't typically go ahead and do, but it's always a nice test to see just how good the system performs and deals with these type of applications. To make things even more complicated, what about if I want to move myself, make myself a little bit bigger? We can go ahead and do that, move myself down in the frame slightly, so that all you really see is me in the center. Let's now have a look and see what happens when we jump from the green portion to the blue. Here we go. Real time. I'm editing a video, I'm color grading a video in real time. And you can go ahead and take a look at the before and the after as well. I think that's quite a nice improvement. The colors may be a little bit more washed out in my version, but even still, we've scaled the video, we've changed the color, we've added contrast, we've added a creative look, we've made it look like a Fujifilm camera, and all of this has been done in real time on the Creator laptop. Really, really cool. And it's the same with Photoshop, as you saw earlier, works like a dream. And with that, that pretty much wraps it up for our first look, unboxing and review of this awesome 17-inch, 360Hz Razer notebook. If you'd like to pick one up for yourself, check out the eBay links in the description of this video, or at least get subscribed to the channel so you can see more from us here at Team eBuyer. Thanks for tuning in though, and as always, we'll see you soon.